This video describes using views tactically in the Rangecast player, including creating views on the fly to meet your needs for particular use cases. Now, in the Rangecast player, you might be starting off with a view of, like, for instance, this one here for Dallas. It has a whole lot of Dallas channels on display at once. And while you're using it, you may turn channels off. Like, let's say you want to focus on just a few channels. You might turn things off, turn on a couple of Dallas Fire channels, me listening to just that, and to make a simplified player that has just the channels relating to a particular incident. Now, when this happens, you'll notice up here, as soon as you make any changes to what channels you have on or off, for example, it'll say here that your view is a workspace, Dallas not saved. That's telling you that what you're seeing on the screen is based on the Dallas view, but you've made changes to it. It's not the saved version of Dallas that other users would have if they were to launch their player, or you would have if you came back and relaunched your player. That this is something you're doing right here tactically in the player right now. Now, separately, we'll discuss how you can save these views you create for use afterwards. But this is useful tactically as well while you're using the player. You could, for example, let's say you want to be going between another view and coming back to this. Way you can temporarily save this inside your player is going over here on the Options and Preferences panel to Changes, and you can name your modified view. So let's say that I call this DF for Dallas Fire, and confirm. Now when I come back here, this view is now called DF. Now I have the ability of moving between my original Dallas view and this focused one, and they're both available to me on the Views page. And so I can do this whenever I make any changes. I can customize this in additional ways. I can say trim it down to just those channels. Once again, I'll go back to saying it's not saved. I could go over and save that modified view. So that gives me a way to work tactically in the player with several views that I'm creating based on particular incidents as they happen. And you can also do a similar thing using the scripting processes. If you're familiar with those, you can, I have some in here I was using previously, but I could make a view on the fly that had like Dallas Fire channels like that. And now I have available this DF2 view that has just the Dallas Fire channels by themselves. And there are other ways of setting up views. Like you can create a custom filter here. And now let's say I wanted to choose the channels in Collin and Denton County. So I might highlight both of those. And let's say I want to restrict this to the police channels. I can do something like that and apply filter. And now I have a view that has just these, from these two counties, has just the police channels. Once again, it'll say workspace not saved, meaning that this is something I've done tactically, but it's going to go away if I change views and come back. It's not going to be there. But I could go over to the options again and go to name my modified view, and I could call this C and D for Collin and Denton, and come back over here, and now I've got this view available to me along with the other ones. So I can do things like that to tactically create views. Now these aren't saved in the long-term sense. They're saved inside the player, but if I was to go away from the player and come back and reload, it would come back fresh again. So if you want to save your views between sessions or make them available to other users, that's a somewhat more complex process that involves saving the entire configuration. We'll discuss that in a separate video. This is principally focused at the tactical use of views.